The American occupation of post-war Cuba can be broken up into two parts. The first occupation, from January 1899 to May 1902. The second occupation, from 1906 to 1933. The first occupation consists of three major goals. 1. To make Cuba into a self-governing country, an arrangement designed to achieve political stability without the administrative burdens and costs of an outright colonial occupation. To achieve this goal of political stability, the United States bought off the Army by offering to purchase its arms and also offered key rebel leaders well-paid positions. The American company Remington became the main supplier of the Rural Guard with the Remington Lee Model 1899 military rifle. The Rural Guard was established by General Wood to put down the agitators who began to grow restive at the presence of the Americans. At the time, Cuban leaders Calito Garcia and Maximo Gomez were tired old men. This aided the United States in that there were no leaders to lead Cuba against the United States. Political stability was necessary to attract American capital and business. The second goal of the first occupation was to repair the destruction wrought by the war and provide sanitation and other services needed for economic recovery. Dr. Carlos Finley succeeded in eliminating yellow fever. General Leonard Wood was appointed Governor General and created a Cuban national education system. The third goal was to absorb Cuba into the economic sphere of influence of the United States. This was made possible by the Platt Amendment, which limited the ability of independent Cuba to conduct foreign policy and to borrow money abroad. Gave the United States the right to maintain a naval base at Guantanamo Bay. Most importantly, it gave the United States the right to intervene in Cuba. The United States left in 1902 when Tomás Estrada Palma was elected president.
The second occupation began in 1906, when José Miguel Gómez led a revolt against Tomás Estrada Palma. Unable to defend himself, Palma requested aid from the United States. President Taft sent in the Marines and appointed Charles Magoon to preside over an American provisional government. Magoon's solution was to divide the patronage among contending Cuban groups. The resistance virtually disappeared. This provisional government was extremely corrupt. Magoon was in control until 1909. Although during the control of Magoon, the Cuban Communist Party was founded in the Manzanillo region. After Magoon released control to Cuba, José Miguel Gómez was elected president and served from 1908 to 1912. Mario Menachal served as president from 1913 to 1920. It was a relatively stable time for Cuba, with the exception of World War I. Cuba declared war on Germany the day after the United States did. Cuba was utilized as a base to protect the West Indies from U-boat attacks. A draft was issued and 25,000 troops were raised. In 1920, Alfredo Zayas won the presidency with conservative support. At the time of the election, sugar prices had crashed, and this caused considerable unrest. President Warren Harding sent General Enoch Crowder in January 1921 to serve as his representative. Crowder essentially ruled Cuba from his battleship, the Minnesota, until 1923. Zayas was believed to be corrupt. Gerardo Mercado opposed Zayas in the election of 1924. Mercado ran on a platform of national regeneration, yet he had very close ties to American economic interests. He had traveled to America and worked with multiple American companies. Mercado was vice president of the American-owned Cuban Electric Company in Havana. Mercado also owned the Moulin Rouge Theater in Cuba, which was geared towards wealthy Americans living in Havana. He experienced virtually no opposition for several years. Yet Mercado lost favor by having Juan Antonio Mella, a prominent communist leader, murdered in 1929. Mercado won the re-election of 1928 by completely outlawing the political party of his opponent, Carlos Mondiata. Mercado continued to lose support. He eventually lost support of the United States as well. Sumner Welles was an ambassador serving American President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Welles attempted to mediate between Mercado and his opposition, a rebel group of old politicians led by Mondiata, as well as a rebel group of young students known as the ABC. Mercado answered these challenges with tightened censorship and stepped-up terror tactics used by his secret police. It was a bus strike in Havana that grew into a general strike that ended Mercado's reign. The strike ended in a massacre and caused the United States to withdraw their support of Mercado. A provisional government by Carlos Manuel de Cepedas attempted to fill the void left by Mercado. Batista overthrew this provisional government and immediately allied himself with the young student rebels. The new alliance was inexperienced. Soon Batista, Dr. Roman Grau San Martin, a longtime opponent of Mercado, and Antonio Holmes, a leader of the student directory, were dominant figures in the alliance. The first move was to eliminate the Platt Amendment. In doing so, they alienated American financial and agricultural interests. Several loans to the Chase National Bank of New York were suspended, and they seized 2 mills belonging to the Cuban American Sugar Company. With obvious reason to be angry, the United States refused to recognize this upstart government. The United States began to repeat the actions that had occurred in Mexico. Wilson had backed Huerta. Roosevelt had backed Batista. The United States became satisfied and left Cuba when Batista began to rule through a puppet president, Carlos Mondiata, in 1934.
In closing, the United States left a legacy of corruption in Cuba. Although the country was witness to growth under the first occupation, the people did not feel a connection to the growth. Rather, they felt that Cuba was becoming a puppet state under the United States. Things were not as great under the second occupation. Perhaps the extended amount of time that the United States was in Cuba was not suitable for the relationship between Cuba and the United States. The second occupation was one of brutality and strict control.